The Grand Canyon is one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, and Grand Canyon National Park puts this wonder on full display. The park has world-class hiking trails, scenic drives, and stunning overlooks. Plus, it has great dining options with plenty of lodging. So what's the catch? Grand Canyon National Park has a little bit of a learning curve. Each season brings different challenges, above the rim and below the rim. Mandatory shuttle routes can cause confusion, plus crowds and traffic can be agonizing. So in this episode, I'm going to give you some basic details about Grand Canyon National Park so you can start planning your own trip. I'll let you know how the park is laid out, I'll let you know the best time of year to visit, I'll give you a few tips to make your trip more enjoyable, and I'll give you a quick overview of each section on the South Rim. Grand Canyon National Park averages more than 4 million visitors per year. Adventurers arrive from all over the globe to see the canyon in person. And it's a bucket list destination. Some are content with viewing the canyon from the rim, and others venture down into the canyon for a closer look. If it's your first time visiting the park, the main thing you need to understand is the layout. First, Grand Canyon National Park covers 1.2 million acres in northern Arizona, and the Colorado River sits center stage. The park boundary follows the Colorado River for 278 miles, as it travels from Marble Canyon in northern Arizona to Lake Mead in Nevada. In other words, this park is massive, and it's so massive that it covers both rims of the Grand Canyon, the South Rim and the North Rim. For those of you that don't know, the rim is the very top of the canyon. Venturing below the rim means you're headed into the canyon. The South Rim is the most well-known part of the park, with landmarks like Mather Point, the Desert Watchtower, and the Bright Angel Trail. The South Rim also has campgrounds, lodges, and a shuttle system. This rim is very well developed, and it's easy to access, but the park also extends to the North Rim of the Grand Canyon. The North Rim is remote, so the crowds are smaller. It also sits at an elevation of 8,000 feet. So winters are brutal, and it shuts down from November to May. Plus, it takes 3 hours to get from the South Rim to the North Rim. In a lot of ways, the North Rim feels like a completely different park. While I absolutely love the North Rim, this episode is going to focus on the South Rim, but I do have a separate episode dedicated to the North Rim, and I'll link it at the end of this video. The rims are nice, but in my opinion, most of the fun happens in between the rims, in the actual canyon. This part of the park is filled with trails, viewpoints, and wildlife. There's even a lodge tucked away at the bottom of the canyon. One other thing to consider is that the further you go into the canyon, the smaller the crowds get, which is great, but you'll also have to remember that these trails are steep, so you'll need to prepare properly and have plenty of water. The South Rim has 2 entrances. You can arrive from Cameron to the east, or Williams and Flagstaff to the south. The south entrance serves as the park's main entrance, and if you don't hit it at the right time, the lines and traffic can be insane, even in the winter. In most cases, you'll want to get to the park before 9 a.m. to make sure the lines aren't crazy. But I'm not exaggerating when I say the wait can be longer than 60 minutes during peak hours. Trust me, I've dealt with it. Once you reach the entrance, all of the normal national park fees apply. You can pay for admission, which will get you into the park for a week, or you can use an annual pass. We always use our America the Beautiful pass, and you should get one if you're going to see multiple parks. Aside from understanding the layout of the park, you'll also want to visit at the right time. Picking a season to visit the Grand Canyon really depends on what you're looking to do. The winter months bring snow and ice to the rim, but in most cases, the trails in the canyon are still good for hiking. We hiked the canyon in the winter. We needed microspikes for traction at the top, but we needed air conditioning at the bottom. The park's visitation numbers also dwindle in the winter, so it's a little more relaxing when you don't have to deal with massive crowds. Plus, lodging reservations are much easier to get. The park will still be a little busy, but it's much more manageable. In the summer, temperatures can be painstakingly hot, especially if you're planning on hiking down into the canyon. Many adventurers have met their fate in the Grand Canyon, and a good portion of those situations were due to heat and dehydration. Parts of the Grand Canyon can reach 120 degrees in summer. It's a sad reality, but entering the canyon, especially in the summer, is a risk, and you have to prepare thoroughly. Of course, summertime also means kids are out of school. so crowds spike in July and August. This makes reservations tougher to get, so you'll need to plan 8 to 12 months in advance to get what you want. Personally, I wouldn't visit in the summer, but I'm also a hiker. If you're just looking to ride along the rim to stop at viewpoints and check out landmarks, you can probably make it happen, but you'll have to be patient with the crowds. Spring and fall share a few similarities. Temperatures are much more reasonable than summer, and crowds aren't quite at their peak. Early spring will have bare trees, left over from the winter months. This can leave the landscape feeling a little empty, but that's not enough to stop me from visiting in the spring. But personally, I think fall is the best time to visit Grand Canyon National Park, particularly the first couple weeks in October. This seems like the sweet spot for the crowds and weather. The rim normally still has some fall colors, and the temperatures in the canyon are perfect for hiking. Once you decide on a time to visit, there are a few things you'll want to keep in mind. Some of these are pretty basic, so I'll be quick. Not to sound like a broken record, but get to the park early. I say this in every national park video I make, because it's the truth. Personally, I like to get to the park within 30 minutes of sunrise. You don't have to get up at sunrise, but if you get to the park early, it will literally make your whole day better. Next, when you're picking a place to stay, you'll want to stay as close to the park as possible. Williams and Flagstaff are nice, but they're more than an hour away from the park depending on where you stay. And if you want to stay in Cameron, that's an hour away from Grand Canyon Village. Stay closer if you can so you don't spend so much time in the car. If you're staying in the park, you'll also want to make sure that you stock up on groceries before you arrive. Grand Canyon Village has a grocery store, but the South Rim is remote, so food prices can be high. You'll save a lot of money if you stock up in Williams or Flagstaff on your way to the park. Just make sure that your lodging has a stove or microwave so you can actually cook your groceries. This final item should go without saying, but you should always have a clear plan for your trip. Know what you want to see and when you want to see it. Make a clear itinerary and do your best to stick to it. And if you need help making an itinerary or figuring out what you want to see, you can check out our Grand Canyon Travel Guide. This guide is packed with trail summaries, detailed maps, shuttle information, itineraries, and much more to help you plan an epic trip. Our Grand Canyon Travel Guide is available at the link in the description. The South Rim is a great destination, but there are a few limitations you should be aware of while you're planning. Some areas have restricted access, while other areas require a decent drive. Here's a quick rundown so you can plan accordingly. The South Rim can essentially be split into 4 sections, and the first section is the Desert View Scenic Drive. This scenic drive begins just up the road from the South Rim Visitor Center, and it extends 23 miles, all the way to the park's eastern boundary. The road passes several trails and overlooks along the way. This road also provides access to the Desert View Watchtower, which is one of the South Rim's most underrated landmarks. The Desert View Scenic Drive is the only area on the South Rim that doesn't have a shuttle route, so the South Rim's remaining sections can be separated based on their shuttle route. The Blue Route services Grand Canyon Village. You don't have to ride a shuttle to access this area, but be warned, parking in Grand Canyon Village can get ugly quickly. Some of the lodges and hotels don't have dedicated parking, so it's a free-for-all. Get there early to avoid a headache, or ride a shuttle to avoid the situation altogether. You can always park at the South Rim Visitor Center, then ride the Blue Route to your destination. The Blue Route has lodges, restaurants, and the Bright Angel Trail. It also provides access to the Mather Campground, coffee shops, a hiking outfitter, and much more. The next section of the South Rim is the Red Route, or Hermit's Rest Road. This road is closed to private vehicles from March through November, so if you're visiting during those months, you'll have to ride a shuttle. This shuttle follows Hermit's Rest Road along the rim for 7 miles. The road passes 8 different overlooks before arriving at Hermit's Rest, which has a small cafe, restrooms, and a gorgeous view. The fourth and final section of the South Rim is the Orange Route, also known as the Kaibab Rim Route. Like the Blue Route, the Orange Route also leaves from the South Rim Visitor Center, and it's the shortest route on the South Rim, but don't let that fool you. Sure, this route provides service to less popular landmarks like the Yavapai Geology Museum and Pipe Creek Vista, but it's also the only way to reach the South Kaibab Trailhead, and South Kaibab is legendary. This trail descends into the Grand Canyon, all the way to the Colorado River, and it's one of the best stops on the South Rim. If you want to know more about the South Rim's landmarks, I made a full episode where I detail my favorite stops, and you can watch that episode right here.